Here we go. Terry's here. Good luck. Dominic. Let's see if this is going to work. Hi, Kerry. Hi.
Unbelievable. Hi.
Technology works. Yes.
Yay. Let me go get my coffee.
I'll get you coffee. I have my water, but I also have my wine. Rosie Jane. Hi, Rosie.
Oh, I'll have mine later.
You have your wine later. Excellent. It's not even nice wine. It's just not. It's just cheap wine. It's just
That's
nasty
all you
wine.
need these
Right?
days.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh wow. So good morning.
Oh,
How are you? How are you this time of morning then, Terry? Is this a good
I'm,
time for you?
yeah, I'm in the middle of prepping a huge job. So actually I'm waiting for all the details to come in. This
Yeah.
could be something interesting that your people, everyone on here, before you get a job, when the casting director is awarded the job, a lot of times all the details aren't in place, like how it's running. And this one has a lot of copy with a lot of characters. Oh, you know, and now that I have to send it out to you, I need the copy, each character on a separate page. And then what I like to do is on the top of that page, actually put your direction so you don't have your copy and then go back to reading something else that says the direction. From experience, I try to avoid mistakes that have happened in the past where someone will say, oh, I didn't see that, because they have the copy, the sides right in front of them, but the
Right.
direction wasn't on it, so they didn't happen to go back to another place to reference that. So there's just so many details to iron out, and actors probably don't realize that. And also, this is going to be rush, and my producers are apologizing to me because the ad agency that they're getting this from was late. Like, they're very difficult to get information out of, so they're apologizing to me. So then it goes down the line, and then it's a rush for you. And then when
Right.
you get it back to me, it's a rush for me to look at everything or listen to everything. This happens to be a huge voiceover package, but it's very, 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 very real. It's putting voices to real characters.
Yeah. Okay. And it sounds as if because you've got so many different characters there, Terry, it sounds as if, you know, you've got this huge job, and actually you just getting once you get everything down, it's a very short space of time between getting everything back from the agents, right?
Yeah, like I describe this part of a casting director's job of making some kind of order out of chaos.
Yeah.
And this part is very stressful, especially when everything starts coming in, and because it's just so much coming at you. And then after 5, 7, 8 hours of me working on it with my assistant, like, it starts taking some order, and I feel like I've come to the other side, sort of, you know, where it's a little more smooth sailing.
Right. Is this normal then for the jobs that you cast? Is this like a normal process?
Yes.
Right. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I tell you what, we have some questions. I've just noticed some questions kind of coming up in the chat, but I just want to, first of all, take you back because you come from an advertising background. You cast for BBDO in
I
New
used
York, didn't
to.
you? You used to back.
Originally.
And but before then, you were at Lee Strasberg, weren't you?
Well, while I was casting at an ad agency, yes, I wasn't like at there.
No, sure.
I would teach at night. And actually, the Strasberg Institute brought me on to be an adjunct teacher. So, yes, and that's where I would be in one room teaching the commercial stuff and hear the relaxation exercises in the other room. I got to know what Strasberg was.
Wow. Okay. So you've always been around actors. You've always been in that environment, then, haven't you? Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I always had, I'm going to call it a theatrical sensitivity to commercials.
Yeah.
And the way I teach it now and look at it is they're a short scene, you know, and there's similarities to you actors who are watching to your short scene, how you do a short scene. There are similarities and there are definitely differences.
It's interesting because in your workshops, I've written a few notes beforehand. You've got your workshops allow the actor to get a full rounded character across in a commercial in like 30 seconds or something, right?
Exactly.
It's very short form of mind, yeah. And I know you're currently teaching them on Zoom, right?
Yes, yes. So
How has it been for you?
There are no borders.
Right.
It's been really good. I just started one, and in the beginning, I ask everyone where they're from. There isn't very quick registration form, but I never really ask anyone where they're located. And I was like shocked. There were only 2 people. There are 12 people in the class, and only 2 are from LA. One is from Canada, one is from New York City.
Right.
Iowa. I mean, I just went, what? Like I had no
Yeah,
idea.
I've been to Iowa. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So you actually, you get people together. You're getting people from across the country.
Yes. Yeah. Whoever, because I'm very active on Instagram. So who's ever on Instagram, and now they have access to me. And I always have thought as the people I work with as part of my community, agents and actors, and I really feel like just connecting with you, and it's so much fun. I mean, I feel that our community has grown, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's where we originally connected, right, on Instagram, and then I actually heard of you a few years ago through some agents in Los Angeles, and your reputation and stuff, and so it seems that any agent and any actor worth their salt in terms of commercials have certainly heard of you, certainly worked with you. And I remember we spoke, and you said you worked with people like Wendy Braun in the early days.
Yeah, I knew when I actually met Wendy Braun when she was at Northwestern University. Northwestern brought in a panel of casting directors, all theatrical, film and television, and me. And I was partners at the time with Meg Lieberman. They were, Lieberman Hirschfeld was casting Seinfeld at the time. So we went in, a bunch of us went in for the weekend, and Wendy was actually one of our, the people they assigned to make sure that we're comfortable, and drove us some places back and forth, probably from where we were staying. And she was just so you know, she just felt so connected, great personality. And she ended up coming out to LA about a year later and contacted, the reason you brought her up, and I'm talking about this because it is about relationships and you never know where it's going to come from. So I assume that's why, and contacted all of us, and it seems, not that any of us talked to each other about it, we were all willing to help her. Because, you know, there was just a real general feeling of someone who knew what they were doing and was in it all out, studying and, you know. And anyway, she got her agents and started booking. And she was booking a lot. But she wasn't doing voiceovers, and she has this raspy voice, and I started bringing her in. At the time, there was more bringing in to our office rather than online home reads, and she started being on Avail. I don't know if you guys across the pond call it on Avail or first refusal, or
I know what on Avail is, but yeah, we call it something else. Yeah,
okay, pinned, whatever. We don't call it pinned for commercials, but and then I called her on-camera agent and I said, you should really consider her for voiceovers. Oh, you know, we have too many women. And then she actually started booking a couple of things with me, and I called again, and they met with her, and long story short, she ended up being one of their biggest female bookers. So
that's awesome. And it's interesting what you said about relationships as well, because it is everything. A lot of, as you know, a lot of big name film directors, they do commercials.
Oh yes.
You know, and it's really interesting. Some actors get a little bit, what's the phrase I'm looking for? A little bit kind of snooty at commercials. You know the type I mean, right? Okay.
I have a funny story about that.
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, no, it's interesting because just one of the questions I had emailed to me earlier on by someone who couldn't attend, but they're going to watch on catch up, was to actually go to your commercial auditions, because you never know who you're going to meet. It's always it's acting. It's part of the job, right?
Yes. I think you don't know who you're going to meet there, even other actors who you get pals with and familiar with, and one thing leads to another. Same in your acting classes, and there's a project they're working on that you'd be good for, or they have an agent, maybe you don't have an agent yet, or you're looking to change agents, they have an agent that you like, and they'll, you know, suggest you to their agent. You just really never know. And you know what? I don't blame actors really for not being crazy about commercials, because the audition process is so fast. And especially when you're called into our offices and you're waiting in a reception area, usually with a lot of other people, and it's in and out, in and out, in and out, very, very fast. And, you know, that probably doesn't feel very good all the time. And you can't, like, dig into the character. But I really want you to know that you, speaking from a commercial, I also cast independent films.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking from a commercial point of view, you are so important to us, as we depend on you. If we don't know you, well, now we look at your reels, but we don't really know how it's going to transfer to a commercial. And we get a little nervous because we're only as good as the people we bring in. And even though your auditions, you're not in the room very fast, and it's very, very, very quick and precise, we have it figured out. We really do. And they want to see, especially now, the budgets are lower, so they put in more in one day. And there's a lot we have to cram in one day. When you come in person, keep the expenses down. But every single appointment time, every 5-minute appointment time is so important to us and really, really, really matters.
Yeah.
And we haven't figured out how to audition you very quickly so our directors see really what they want to see. They want to see your personality. Sometimes there's transitions involved, along with personality connection.
Yeah.
You know, so I know it doesn't feel very good as an actor, but I think there are several reasons to do it. First of all, you can make money at it, good money at it. It keeps you busy in the acting realm.
Yeah.
The auditioning keeps you busy, and then the contacts that you make. You want to stay busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with commercials, it's just as much a piece of art to the director than his or her film that they're doing.
Yes.
Yes. Which brings me on to, I know that you cast independent films as well. You cast voiceovers, animation.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between casting an independent film to say casting a commercial or casting a voiceover? Anything like that?
Yeah, well, there's always differences. Voiceover, even though, for instance, what I'm casting now, it's raw, real people.
Yeah.
But if they don't know how to do a voiceover, it doesn't translate for some reason. There's like a little sweet spot of where you have to land and play in.
Yeah.
And commercials too. And then, of course, film. You could have a short scene in a film. I was going to say it's a longer format, but you could definitely have a short scene in a film. Yeah, I mean, your character can have, if it's a longer scene, more depth and grow more. You have more time for it. Certainly there are differences. You don't look at a camera. There's always usually a camera in the room, but you never look at the camera for film. And this is commercials. Most of the time you do. It's like one of the characters almost.
Yeah. And this is something that you teach in your workshop as well, isn't it? I think, your online workshop.
Yeah, it's very important when you do a commercial that you show up as someone specific, just like theatrical, a short scene theatrically. And then you have lines, but it's you, it's who you are saying the lines. Where commercially, I have to turn people around. They don't realize that, so I kind of have to maneuver them and turn them around. So the lines kind of don't, throw a lasso and pull them. They, as the actor, are showing up as a specific person saying the lines. The lines are written already. That just like theatrically, the lines are written already. So it's who are you saying this? So you have to, you have to understand, which I go into, what the psyche is behind a commercial and where the talent fits in.
Can you tell us a little bit about how many submissions you might typically get for a particular role on a commercial, for example, or on a voice gig or something?
On camera commercial, I can easily get 1,400 to 2,100 per character. We easily, if there are 7 characters, easily at least have 4,000 to, comb through.
Yeah.
voiceover, what I'm doing now. It's very specific what I'm doing now, but I could, you know, I'll have, you know, 600
Yeah.
to go through.
And how do you kind of whittle those down? How do you go through those? Is it to do with the relationship that you have with the agent, or is it, does that play a part? Because we have a lot of good relationships with casting in LA, but how?
You froze for a
Oh,
moment.
okay. I was going to say, how do you whittle that down? Is it to do with the relationship that you have with the agent?
Well, if there's speaking in a commercial, and I know that certain agents have very good actors, I will tend, we can pull up the pictures by per agency. So I will tend to pull up, like I'll pull up your agency, just say if we're working together, because I know you have very, very, very good actors. So, you know, I kind of see, and then I'll make my choices that way. But other than that, I think to be creative as a casting director, you want to consider everything.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, everything that's submitted. And so I will say with what's going on now with the self-submissions, and I'm sure you've heard this from other people, but it really matters to follow directions, because you're part of the organizational process for us. So if we say put 2 takes, you know, on one MP, whatever, MP4, and you have them separated, and we said slate your name without your agent, and you slated your name with the agents and started talking about where you're from and all that, we'll go, no. Like,
No,
and your audition could be really, really, really good, but you didn't follow the directions. And what are we going to do? Like, you stick out. You don't fit into our organizational process.
You stick out for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, slate is everything. It's just the instructions are there for a reason.
They are.
You know? Yeah.
And it's not because we're authoritarian, or, you know, that's not the reason.
I've had a few questions in. I just want to run this past you. You know, you've been casting for such a long time, and you've got a really, really amazing reputation. I know, as I said, fellow agents that I speak to in Los Angeles, and also actors as well, they really, really love your work. And is there something that keeps you going? Is there something that keeps the spark going?
I like the creativity. I like to have this blank canvas and come out with and be part of the creative team. I like being part of a creative team. I love, it's changed over the years, and it's interesting. I always loved giving actors work too. And I feel like I'm a possibility for actors. So I love that, which is why I really want to share at this point in my life information that I know, and I just want the actors to attain their goals. I think now, this part of my career, I care more about the actors than I did, you know, when I was 25 years old and, you know, really climbing up the ladder. You know what I mean? Everybody evolves, so.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Jade has asked, and just to go back to your our conversation about slate, she says, "What does your ideal slate
Yeah, I
consist
see
of?"
that. Um, we'll just say we tell you, slate your name, no agent, no other information.
Yeah,
We'll ask you if we want you to show us profiles. The reason we might do that is the director just wants to see all angles of you with, future possible shots in mind.
yeah. Okay.
Energy in your slate. It's not like theatrical where you're in character when you just say your name. You say your name just so who's ever watching your auditions back, they just have a reference in case they forget your name. There's a name. But commercials, it's almost part of the audition. That's different than theatrical. So in
Interesting.
commercials, yeah, so
Yeah.
in commercials, you want to, just like your commercial headshot, believe me, I like certain theatrical headshots for commercial. It can be used for commercial too. But basically, if I could generalize, I would say a good commercial headshot is your eyes are very connected. You feel bright and positive and open. And that's the same thing with a commercial slate. And then
Yeah.
if it's something where just say your character in the commercial is extremely frustrated or down in the dumps for whatever reason, if that's your character. For commercials, you don't slate in character. You would slate open and, with that personality and really connecting with the eye of the camera. And it only takes a beat and we shouldn't even see it. You switch. So
You switch into the
that's
thing.
different commercial than theatrical.
Yeah. Okay. There's tons and tons of rejection in the business, and I think that obviously actors get rejected all the time, but so do agents. Agents get rejected every day, but then also so do casting. You guys get rejected as well, right? For jobs
Yeah.
that you want and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of it's in the industry. Any advice that you'd give anyone struggling with rejection or?
Yeah. I write blogs for the Casting Network daily news feed.
Yeah.
And one of my blogs was about rejection should not be in the vocabulary of an actor. You should not feel rejected. I'd say erase that word. It just wasn't your turn. That just everything didn't fall in place for you. Because hopefully if I have 35 people in for a character, 35 are really great or 30 are really great. But not 30 people are going to be called back, because when it becomes the callback process, it's a feel. It's you maybe gave a great audition, but there's an essence to who you are, and so they'll just call certain people back, but you were still good. And then only one person gets booked. So if I put you on a veil or first refusal, or what do you call it in London?
Option.
Okay, so you've been put on option, and then then I release you from that.
Yeah, that's hard.
You should not feel rejected.
Yeah.
It just, all the elements didn't fall in place for you. And if you're part of an ensemble commercially, not only is it the essence of who you are, but the essence of the whole ensemble.
Yeah.
And so I would say just, keep studying, work out every week. You should be in ongoing theatrical classes. I would think as an actor, like I, I compare it to like a vampire. Like that's your blood, you know. That's and your fix.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that.
and like how if you're not in a theatrical acting class, how do you get your fix every week? You know, it should feel good to be in that class.
Let's all be vampires. Let's all be vampires today. Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love that. No, that's really useful. Somebody mentioned, and I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. I saw your name pop up on the chat, and then you disappeared again. But somebody was talking about headshots, and somebody was talking about headshot tips. And I suppose it's a lot of it is to do with the connection between you and the photographer, right? The headshot photographer. And actually that's really key, because actually if that's missing, if you have a photographer that doesn't get you, then there's no point doing it. I mean, I can recommend, sorry, go on. Yeah.
I looked on your website, and I love like your people, like it's so raw and real. I like that. I like
there's
that.
Some very and a lot are actually on this call. Dominic here, Becky's here, Rebecca's here. Yeah, there's Nicole's here. There's some very good people on this call. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't see who's on the call because it's kind of the names kind of disappear. But yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, any advice on headshots? Any kind of do you think a variety is key, or do you think to kind of stick to the same similar vibe?
That's an interesting question. On the trend here in the States, you can tell me what it is where you are, is that I can click your main headshot that comes up is your agent decides which one to put up as your main one in accordance with the breakdown. But I can click then and see into your headshots. I like about 5 headshots.
Yeah.
With variations, little variations. There are some people who in their headshots, they have long hair, short hair, different color hair in each head or some of the headshots. Certainly with men, beard, no beard. And if it starts feeling that you want to be everything, you start feeling desperate.
Yeah.
And I lose interest.
Yeah.
And they should be current. If your hair is red now and you have dark-haired pictures in there, take them out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always advise our partners to update headshots every 18 months or so. Certainly none.
Seems to, because people, especially if you're studying acting and you're working in acting, there's kind of an aura that changes around you and a different feel around you. And after about 18 months, it changes. So you should be current.
Yeah, absolutely. Very briefly, I don't know how much time you have, but I just want to talk about you really like actors with comedy skills, don't you? You work a lot with actors within the realms of comedy.
I do. And that's kind of, I would say, well, for my films, no.
Right.
No. Someone loved that. I got lots of hearts with my no.
Yeah, I don't know who said that.
But what I do love to see on a resume, and every casting director I've ever heard or been on a panel with also likes to see improv, because it's, you know, it shows that you're loose, you can think fast on your feet. Those two very important traits. And for commercials, most of them, comedy really helps, because commercials, you know, have typically, generally, a certain energy, and there's a little, you know, fun view to it, because the person in the commercial usually is the winner, and at least one of the characters, and you want to buy the product because that person knows what they're doing, even if they're the nerdy neighbor who has the better car, or a car that you like, even though he's nerdy, like he's the winner, you know, and there's a little, he probably knows it, so there's a little energy there that comedy lends to.
I want to briefly talk about, and we've had a few comments, and I can't remember your name, but a few people have talked about social media. And I know as an agent, you know, we used to get, about 2 or 3 years ago, we used to get breakdowns in about social media, and from London-based casting directors, but also LA-based casting directors. What are your thoughts on social media?
I love it. I'm very active on Instagram. That's how we met. I'd say just be careful what you put on it. When I go through it and I have someone shaking their booty, you know, and you know,
I mean, that's me on Friday.
What's that?
That's me on a Friday.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't see them, because I unfollow them. I'm not interested in that.
No. No. Okay. Cool. Someone, Becca is saying she's currently Elsie the cow for Board and Dairy commercials. Lots of improv.
She's the cow in the Board. Congratulations! That's a great gig.
Yeah.
You guys don't see this, but I just cast for CNN a political spot, and there's a donkey and an elephant, and and it's a animated drawing, but very real voices to it. That's my forte, putting real voices with personality to these animated characters. And they each only have about eight words. And one of them told me that he was called back for a separate 2-hour session to say his 8 words. 2 hours to improv around for 2 hours those 8 words, like say them different ways. And he said it was a master improv session. Lesson, even though he doesn't need lessons in improv, you know, workout. He said it was a master improv workout.
It sounds like a workout.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he had fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's
I saw
that's
it on
really...
CNN last night. It was amazing. Oh, Dean Feld. He's one of my. He's someone I know.
All right, awesome. So I really recommend your online workshops to all actors, because you learn absolutely tons and tons, and you've got as I said earlier on, you've got such a good reputation in the industry.
Yeah, set something up for London.
Yes.
You set it up.
Well, I will set it up. But I know that you are doing our, and I haven't announced this officially yet, but we are doing an online actors retreat for actors in the UK and Europe to connect with LA casting directors, LA agents, LA showrunners, all that kind of thing. So we're doing that right now. Email is going to go out to our partners in the next couple of weeks. So that's quite exciting.
You're getting lots of parts.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really cool. We talk about submissions. Social media followers, the amount of social media followers, they don't really count in terms of booking, do they? They don't really matter.
Do you know, when it first, it had some heat in the beginning.
Yeah.
And not so much anymore. Believe me, you know, there are certain things where it does, but on the everyday long run, no.
No. Okay. Cool. And I just want to end with someone asked a question, and I can't remember who it was again because the names pop up and they just disappear. So I don't know. But in terms of dressing for the role, in terms of dressing for the part, for an audition, whether it's a film, whether it's a commercial, you do kind of you have to nod to the character, right?
Not so much for film. Commercials a little more.
Yeah.
You dress towards the character. You know, if I have something where it's upscale and you're in jeans that are ripped, it matters. It really does.
Yeah. So just a gentle nod to the character. I've loved talking with you, Terry. I just want to say thank you so much.
I love talking to you. This is exciting.
And thank you to everyone who's joined us. And Bex, hi Bex, that's Dominic, hi amazing. Nina, I saw Nina earlier on.
I can't see how many. Can you? Mine doesn't show me how many. I thought it's supposed to.
It has 40. It said 44 earlier, and then it kind of goes up and down. So I don't know what kind of people watching.
Will you share? Are you going to put this on
our stories? Hi, Eleanor. Jade, I'll put this on our stories, Terry.
Will you share? Do you put it on IG Live or anything? Anyway, share with me wherever you put it.
I will put it on IG Live. I know how to do that. I should do that.
I think it will automatically go on IG Live.
Okay, I know that.
Anyway,
I know that.
Tag me on everything.
I'll tag you on everything. That's fine. And yes, when you know, happy to work with you on your voice stuff. When you drop us an email if you need the voice stuff that you were talking about as well.
Oh, do you have anyone in the LA area?
You do, yes.
Okay,
do you know
I will. And now the preference is that voiceover people have their home studio, and it doesn't have to be a big expensive setup, but that is recording quality, meaning you're not going to hear the lawnmowers that you hear from my apartment now, and you know, all the air and stuff. And Source Connect or something equivalent. Okay. But for instance, the one I'm working on now, they'll make arrangements for that, but we just have to go, we all have to flow with the times, and that's what's happening now.
Awesome. No, awesome. Terry, thank you so much for your time.
I'll definitely, I'm working on the breakdown. It's going to take me a couple of hours to get it done, but I definitely will send it to you.
Send it over. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's joined us, and speak to you soon. Lots of love.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.